Monday. Dan Kasper Show is on the air on your radio dials of 105.1 FM, 790 AM, also online, sportstalk1051.com, where you can check out the YouTube live video stream, or I guess the Twitter live video stream on there too. But otherwise, you got the app in your Google and Alexa home devices. What up, everybody? Hopefully, you all had a fantastic weekend. Maybe able to enjoy some of the weather from yesterday. But ready for another week here before 4th of July week coming up. I guess it is actually technically this weekend, isn't it? Or this coming weekend. But kicking that off, we kind of teased it a little bit on Friday to have a little bit of fun with it because, we got baseball, Stanley Cup, NHL now over with. Cavaliers. The Avs, Colorado Avs. See, I was just kind of combining it there. Colorado Avalanche, your Stanley Cup champs. But we're going to do a little fun here this week. Voted on by you, the listeners. The 4th of the Sports Talk 105.1 4th of July Ultimate Backyard Barbecue is voted on by you, the listener. So we are creating our ultimate backyard barbecue grill out, all that good stuff. Okay, so today we're starting off with the deli / pasta salads. Let the debate begin. You can only pick one. I'm not going to have a poll up because, well, if I put a poll up, I'll probably forget one, and then somebody's going to gripe about it that I forgot to put an Italian pasta salad on or bacon ranch something on there. So not going to put a poll up. Just comment, text it, tweet it, Facebook it. Let's have some fun with this. All right. Everybody's got their darn opinion on it. So send those babies on over. Okay. Don't matter. I'll add them up, whether it's on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or texting line, and try to be as, generic. Don't say your great Aunt Lucy from your wife's side's potato salad. Just say potato salad. Okay. It's got to be the deli, and it's got to be, what you can make from home. Like, when you go up to the counter and they put them in that little plastic container and they weigh it, it's got to be like that. Consider that. Then, the other side's going to be like the finger ones, like whether it's like a dip or corn on the cob or something like that. But we're just looking at the deli stuff, okay? The deli pasta ones today. Have a little fun. Let's see what the listeners of this program right here view as the ultimate, the best backyard barbecue for 4th of July weekend, which is, can't believe it's already coming up here, peeps. Already coming up. So we'll have some fun with that one. We'll have a little banter. We'll have a little debate on it. A lot of good stuff. Do you put onions in your potato salad or not? I know that's a big one in our household. Brewers, not a bad weekend for them, huh? Picking up a series win against the Toronto Blue Jays. 10 runs in the victory yesterday, 10-3. Getting a 5-4 victory on Saturday. Corbin picking up his 6th win of the season. This all on Friday night to the Blue Jays. But Brewers right now holding a game lead over the St. Louis Cardinals. Shout out to the Cubbies for this past weekend. The only time I'll probably say that, or one of the very few times I'll say that. But nonetheless, successful weekend for the Brew Crew, taking that series win against the Toronto Blue Jays. What do you guys think of the new unis? You like it? You like those new unis? Would you like to see Brewers kind of wear them a little bit more often? I don't know if they can. I don't know what the rules are. If they're just allowed to wear the City Connect ones on certain weekends or like only a certain amount of time in the season. I'm not quite sure. But like them. Rowdy Tellez. Not a bad weekend against his former team there too. So Brewers have the off day today as they prepare to go on the road against the Tampa Bay Rays. Brandon Woodruff slated to get the start tomorrow for the Brew Crew. So, excuse me. Be good to see Woody back in the starting rotation for the Brewers. I know the Brewers really desperately would kind of waiting for him to come back too. So, with some of the banged up pitchers on that starting pitching staff there. So we'll see Woodruff on Tuesday. Lauer is scheduled to get the other start on Wednesday. Still a little TBD, to be determined, for that series starting on Thursday against the Pittsburgh Pirates. But yeah, we'll recap this series against the Toronto Blue Jays coming up a little bit here on that Wisconsin Credit Union opening drive. Kind of looking at highlight a little Rowdy Tellez and all that good stuff there. Also, as we mentioned there quickly, Stanley Cup NHL season is in the books. It's finito. It's done. Colorado Avalanche, your Stanley Cup champs. First cup since 2001. First time since 2001. So NHL season's in the books. The NBA season's, from a couple weeks ago. Training camp, it's got a few weeks yet here. College World Series, Ole Miss captures its first College World Series title. And it's just baseball season right. It's just Major League Baseball season right now. Unless you're paying attention to a little soccer, I guess you can put that one in there too. But with just baseball season, is that what you're kind of putting your focus on, your main focus on there? Or looking ahead to a little bit of the NBA offseason? Just saw this. Bradley Beal is expected to sign a $248 million max extension with the Wizards. If I'm Johnny Davis, I'm excited about that too. I am pumped about that because he gets to pair up with one of the better players in the league. Bradley Beal, Johnny Davis. That'll help Johnny Davis out in his career over there with the Washington Wizards. So if I'm Johnny Davis, I'm feeling pretty darn excited about that. Well, you know what? We'll just kind of go through this whole thing. We'll kind of have some fun this week, right? I'll be out next week taking a little R&R. But let's just finish this week strong. Let's have a little fun. Let's have a little banter. Let's have a little fun back and forth going on here. All that good stuff, right? It was Don Hudson. So it was my kid's birthday yesterday, Hudson's birthday. And little backstory on this too. So Hudson, obviously named after Don Hudson, but something we didn't know when the day he was born. I kind of saw it throughout the day. But I remember sitting in the hospital. We were, waiting for his arrival, and I was scrolling through Twitter. It was one of those down times. And I looked and I was like, okay, today's the 20th anniversary of when Don Hudson passed away. So if you had like Twitter, Facebook or something yesterday, you probably saw a bunch of stuff from like the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and even Bill Huber, who covers the Packers, wrote something about Don Hudson on his 25th anniversary. I'm like, oh, okay. Hudson might be born today, and it's the anniversary of Don Hudson passing, and then all these other numbers. So Don Hudson wore 14, right? Hudson weighed 9 pounds 5 ounces, 9 plus 5, 14. Hudson was born at 10:14. My wife was in labor for 14 hours and 14 seconds. Not even kidding you. Not lying. A little inside info, a little background info on 5-year-old Hudson. Right? And we had the name picked out before all that. 14s were popping up. Hudson anniversary popping up. Kind of weird, isn't it? Kind of weird, but whew, that's what we had this week. And what did you guys do this weekend? Let me know. All right, have any fun? Do anything like that? Let's just jump into it. Let's talk some baseball. Let's kind of recap what's going on across Major League Baseball right now. I know it's kind of the down period here a little bit, so let's just see where the conversation takes us. Right? Let's see where it goes here. But we'll kick things off. Oh, it is a Monday, so we'll do a little armchair quarterbacking, and we'll do some studs and duds too. So if you got some studs and duds, you got that list, hit us up. Hit us up with the little studs and duds from this morning, and I believe we'll catch up with a little JC and EC Justice Cleveland too. So don't forget, I want a bunch of votes on this all-time backyard barbecue thing. Let's have some fun. It's the deli dish, it's the pasta dish sort of thing. text me, tweet me, Facebook me, YouTube comment on those, on your votes, all that stuff. Okay. All right. Let's get things rolling here this morning. Opening drive, the Wisconsin Credit Union opening drive here this morning. Let's get things rolling. Let's talk a little baseball. Brewers, big series this past weekend. We'll take an overlook across all of Major League Baseball.
The Dan Kasper Show will be right back after these words.
Got a take on today's
less than 2 months away now from the Casper Classic, so make sure you're giving Princeton Valley golf course call. Sign up for your 2-person team, $90 per team. That includes your 9 holes of carts, meal, drink tickets, all that good stuff. If you're interested in, maybe some prize donations, got the football from the Packers on Friday. Knew they sent me confirmation something was coming. Got it in the mail Friday. So we're racking up some of the prizes, the raffle prizes, donation prizes. Anybody interested in donating anything like that, you can hit me up there too, or sponsoring or whatever. But if you want to sign up your team, August 26th. So we are officially under 2 months. If you want to get a little practice in, or maybe work on your game for that Casper Classic, also have the Ultra Classic coming up on July 9th at Princeton Valley Golf Course too. So the Ultra Classic, a little bit similar there, but that's going to be on July 9th, 2-person scramble, 9 a.m. check-in, 10 a.m. shotgun start, $100 per team, 9 holes with cart, 6-pack of select Bud products, lunch, hole, and cash prizes. So that's on July 9th over there at Princeton Valley Golf Course. Want to give a quick shout out too. We remember on Friday, our regular good listeners, Bloomer, Tony, and Playing Team, taking the kiddos over there to Green Bay for the NFL sponsored flag football tournament. The NWC Eau Claire Packers brought 4 teams down, and I know about the 12U and the 10U teams. The 10U team made it to the championship game, but lost a close one. Just kind of doing a little research there too. But wish I would have been able to do that as a kid, playing outside of Lambeau Field. Looks like they got to meet James Jones too. Thanks, Bloomer Tony, for sending that on over the other day. But what a fantastic experience. That's freaking awesome. So awesome for those kiddos. Really awesome for those kiddos. So cool. So, oh man, maybe Hutzy will be there in a few years. Who knows? We got a little debate already going on the Shoe Doctor's bullpen line here. Surveyor saying macaroni salad, hands down. Potato salad is as overrated as ranch. Yeah, I said it. Ranch is overrated. I think, Surveyor, you might be putting up some, calling out some people that potato salad. Living Dream Jeff. Good morning, Dan. I love a good potato salad, but I would choose an Italian pasta salad for the ultimate grill out. All right, so we got the macaroni. Surveyor, we have a debate between my wife and I. Do you put cheese in your macaroni salad? She doesn't. I do. I gotta have the cheese in it. Gotta have the cheese in it. So, but we've got what? A couple of them right there. I haven't checked out any of the other comments, but keep these babies coming. All right, keep them rolling. Shoot us a text 715-830-1912. All right, let's get things rolling here. Talk a little baseball to open up the week. Brewers, successful weekend for them, taking the series against the Toronto Blue Jays. Brewers now hold a 1-game lead over the St. Louis Cardinals within their division. Brewers sitting there at 42-33, taking 2 out of 3 against the Blue Jays Saturday and Sunday's game, putting up 10 runs yesterday in the victory over the Blue Jays. Rowdy Tellez going up against his former ball club, former team, displaying a little bit of power over the weekend. And you look at Rowdy Tellez, he's gotten 3 home runs in his last 7 games, 2 home runs yesterday. So that was not a bad send-off against his former team there. But right now, Brewers have the off day today, and you kind of look at their upcoming schedule. They've got Tampa Bay for 2 quick games on the road. Brandon Woodruff slated to get the start on tomorrow. Be good to see Woody back in action. And after that, there's a little bit of an opportunity, I think, for the Brewers to kind of go on a little bit of a run here. Tampa Bay will be a tough outing, but you got Pittsburgh. You should be able to beat Pittsburgh. You've got the Cubbies. You should be able to beat the Cubbies. And you got Pittsburgh again before you face the Twins on July 12th. So I'm looking at this part of the schedule, and I'm looking at, okay, Brewers, let's go on a little bit of a run here. You got an opportunity to do so. You got an opportunity to stack up some wins. Grab some wins here, baby. Let's do it. Not to look too far ahead of schedule. You got Minnesota, then you got 4 games against the Giants, then you got Colorado, then Minnesota again. You finish up the month of July with Boston there. So I think right now, this is, if you're the Brew Crew, you got to take a little bit of a advantage of this schedule. Got to take a little bit of advantage of this schedule coming up here. And can you do it? You better. Looking, so yeah, let's focus on that Tampa Bay series though first before we look too far ahead, right? Well, a great weekend for the Brewers going up against a tough opponent, the Blue Jays, and taking 2 at home. Successful weekend for the Brew Crew. Looking at how Major League Baseball is kind of stacking up so far here. I mean, Yankees still just doing their darn thing right now. But with that series lost by Toronto against Milwaukee, they've kind of fallen down here a little bit in the standings. They're just 3-7 in their last 10. And the AL East has had a little bit of a shakeup here because you've got Boston now, who has won 7 in a row. They've climbed all the way up to number 2 in the AL East, the 2 spot in the AL East. They've passed by Tampa Bay and Toronto. Now, Boston's still 11 games behind the Yankees. Tampa Bay and Toronto, 2.5 back from Boston there. But Red Sox playing some darn good baseball. Darn good baseball coming up here. Excuse me, I'm choking up here a little bit. Then you look at the AL Central. Minnesota has climbed back into it, but we've got Minnesota versus Cleveland for this series. Minnesota up 2 games over the Guardians, the Cleveland Guardians. Got to say that still a lot of times in my mind, just to get used to saying that thing. But you got Houston, total command of their division in the AL West. NL East, not a lot of changing here either. You got the Mets still doing their thing. Atlanta, 5 back. Milwaukee up in their division. Dodgers now up 2. They've won 7 of their last, or they're 7-3 in their last 10 games. Padres 2 back. San Francisco 4-6. Both Padres and the Giants 4-6 in their last 10, and they've fallen a little bit behind the Dodgers in the standings there. But not a whole lot of movement besides, you got the, right now, excuse me, the closest divisions in Major League Baseball, the AL Central with the Twinnies and the Guardians, the NL Central with the Brewers and the Cardinals. Then, yeah, you'd probably put the NL West in there too. And then probably, Mets and Atlanta, but they're 5. But you got a couple divisions here that, is it that far-fetched to say, yeah, these are kind of over with at the end of June unless something very drastic happens, knock on wood, or injuries or anything like that? I mean, the Yankees just seem to be on cruise control in the AL East, and it's a race for second place for the wild card. AL West, I mean, it's just Houston, and every other team is under 500 right now, for crying out loud. So, I mean, the second place in the AL West is just, ugh. Have fun playing for a second, but right now you're not even in the wild card. I mean, Texas is in second place in the AL West, and they're 5.5 back right now from a wild card spot. You look at the National League, Atlanta's 1.5 up. They're in a wild card spot. St. Louis kind of in there. Then you got the Padres 4.5. I mean, it's a little bit closer in the NL, at least. All the divisions in the National League. Braves just 5 back, Cards just 1 back, Padres just 2 back. But 2 out of the 3 in the AL East. Whew. because I can't see the Yankees falling down. I mean, the AL East is a better division than the AL West. It's a little bit more. It's deeper. Heck, even Baltimore is 34-40 for crying out loud. They're almost at 500 ball. Baltimore 7-3 in their last 10. The AL West, it's Houston and everybody else. I mean, there's just nothing there. Angels were off to that fantastic start, and then nothing. Nothing after that. I mean, it just seems like, all right, Astros and Yankees just on cruise control. Continue to do your thing. Hopefully nothing serious happens, and then boom, you're on. You're moving on. So, all right. Back to the Brewers here. Back to the Brewers. Just how big of a series was this for the Brewers going up against? Because everybody talks about how the Brewers going up against teams, they're beating inferior opponents, they're beating the teams that they should be beaten, and now they've gone up against a Toronto Blue Jays team that Toronto at the beginning of the season was a very, very, very popular pick to go to the World Series, to make some noise in the AL East this year. I don't think anybody. I think a lot. I mean, I think a lot of people expected the Yankees to be a good team, but I don't think anybody expected the Yankees to be what they're doing right now. I mean, Yelich is, or excuse me, wish Yelich was playing like Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge is just, I don't know of a, we talk about players playing in their contract years and going out there and just getting themselves some money. Aaron Judge might be on pace to have like the best year ever for a guy who is heading into his contract year in any other sport. I mean, the guy is just absolutely nuts right now. Nuts. But the Brewers going up against a good opponent in the Blue Jays and taking 2 out of 3. Can't ask for a better job. Yelich in his last 7 games, kind of your Christian Yelich update. He hasn't had any homers, but he's continuing to get on base. In his last 25 at-bats, he's had 8 hits. He's walked 7 times, struck out 5 times in his 25 at-bats. And that's a 320 batting average, a 469 on-base percentage, and a 400 slugging. That 469 on-base percentage that Christian Yelich has had in his last 7 games is way above, almost 100 points above his career average. His career average for on base is 377. And right now in these last 7 games, in his last 25 at-bats, Yelich has been getting on base, whether it's been by the walk or by collecting a hit. Hasn't been, hitting him over the fence for any dingers in these last 25 at bats. But the guy, batting in that leadoff spot is getting on base. If you look at his last 15 games, it's a little bit more like his career numbers, his career averages. If you expand it out, couple of home runs, 17 hits and 59 at bats, 10 walks, 288 average. He's got a career average of a 289. His on-base percentage, 391, 377. Slugging's up there a little bit more because of the couple of dingers. But you look at this Toronto series, batting, we're in that leadoff spot with Christian Yelich. Christian Yelich collected 4 hits, at least a hit in every game, and collected 4 walks. His one off game would have been on Saturday, where he collected just 1 hit and no walks, did have 3 strikeouts. But you go back to Friday, Yelich collected 2 hits, couple RBIs, couple of walks. Yesterday, hit, scored a couple runs, another RBI, couple of walks. He's doing the job of a leadoff hitter as of late in these last 7 games, in his last 25 at-bats. What Christian Yelich is doing right now. And then you look at Willie Adames and what he's been able to do as of late in his last few games. Yesterday, he collected 3 hits. And his last 27 bats, a couple of home runs, 8 at-bats, 296 average, a 593 slugging, 321 on-base percentage. Primarily batting in that 2 spot with Yelich batting in the 1. I mean, Willie Adames has been on a nice little run here too. Andrew McCutchen has been pretty darn solid. His last 25 at-bats, 280 with a couple of home runs. You want to expand it out to his last 15 games where he had 53 at-bats. Andrew McCutchen, 340. He's batting 340. 18 hits, 8 walks. Just 5 strikeouts in his last 53 at-bats for Andrew McCutchen. And you look at Rowdy Tellez. Rowdy Tellez this past weekend, he obviously had the 2 home runs yesterday. Other than that, he went hitless in his other 2 games against his former team. Well, I should say, 25th, nothing there. Didn't play, but the 24th went hitless there. But yesterday gave them a nice little going away gift and collecting a couple home runs and 4 RBIs. But you look at Rowdy Tellez, his last 21 at-bats, 190 average, has had 3 home runs. His slugging's up there at a 666 or 667, excuse me, collecting 4 hits there. But when you look at the lineup that the Brewers have been putting out there, your top 4, Yelich, Adames, Tellez, McCutchen, 1 through 4. Is that, in your opinion, a batting order, the top half of a batting order that can put up some runs? We know they're going to have some off days, but are you good with that top 4? Are you good with that top 4? Yelich, Adames, Tellez, McCutchen. The Brewers don't make any moves. They don't add any more by the trade deadline, and this is what they're going to roll with. I'm good with that lineup. I'm good with that top 4. I like it. Let's keep this thing rolling. Let's see what we got here. Omar Narvaez in his last few games, not quite the run that he was having prior. Just 148 in his last 27 at-bats, but heck, you want to expand it to his last 56, even doubling it. This is how great of a run Omar Narvaez was on. So his last 27 at-bats, 148, but you add on, if we expand it to his 56, still at a 304. Still at a freaking 304. Yeah. And have we seen enough from Jonathan Davis? So Jonathan Davis, this past weekend, this was the guy that was called up and essentially replacing Lorenzo Cain. And he was originally drafted by the Toronto Blue Jays in 2013. So, I mean, he's been around. This isn't a youngster. He's 30 years old. He's been up and down here a little bit, spent a little time with Toronto, spent a little time with the Yankees. Kind of looking at his career, 2018, he played 20 games for Toronto, 200. 2019, 181. 2020, 259. 143 in 2021 Toronto. The Yankees just, not great, 0.059 in 12 games. But in 5 games for the Brewers here, just 18 at-bats. He's been able to collect 5 hits, 3 walks, 278 batting average, a 381 on-base percentage. Now, it's still early. I mean, I don't know if Jonathan Davis is, the future everyday starting center fielder. I think that's incredibly way too early to be even having that type of discussion. But the guy's taking advantage of his opportunity right now. Got to give him credit there. He's taking advantage of his opportunity. Brewers giving him a little bit more at bats this past weekend. 11 at bats, collected 3 hits, an RBI. Putting the ball in play. So he struck out only twice this past weekend in those 11 at bats. Or excuse me, those are Omar Narvaez's numbers. My bad. No, Jonathan Davis looking at this past weekend. 10 at bats, collected a couple of hits. Yeah, he did strike out a few more times than Omar Narvaez. Omar Narvaez putting the ball in play, just not getting on base. But give Davis a nice little shout out. I mean, for the time that he's been able to play for the Brewers, it's been very limited. I'll take a 278 and 18 at bats. More production than what Lorenzo Cain was doing for the Brewers. No offense to Lorenzo Cain, but I mean a little bit more of a production there. All right, we got to take a quick break here. But what do you think of the top 4? If this was the top 4 in that batting lineup for the Brew Crew, Yelich, Adames, Tellez, McCutchen, is that the top 4 that you would settle on for the Brewers? Is like, all right, this is the top 4 we've got to roll with for the rest of the season. Is the top 4 you would go with if the Brewers don't make any moves? They don't bring a high impact, high percentage at bat or a power bat or anything like that. They don't make a major move by the trade deadline. Is this the top 4 you want to see at that top of that road or that batting lineup, that lineup card? Or would you change anything about it? Think this is a top 4 that can get it done? Let me know. All right, we'll take a quick break. Keep those votes coming in, though. All right. Surveyor saying it's not a deal breaker if cheese is not in the macaroni salad. So, G-Man, you can only pick one at a time right now. Don't break the rules, sir. It's just the pasta salad today, okay? It's just the pasta salad today, G-Man. Don't break them. Can't break the rules, sir. All right, quick break. We'll be back after these few words.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of insane out there. In roller derby, it's not a game, it's a bout. And each jam is filled with insane drive.
to get some gas from River Country Co-op, you can do so by heading to our website, sportstalk1051.com. Click on that Nation tab over there and sign up. If you've already signed up and you haven't won, you don't have to sign up again. You're already in the running. So we got a couple more we'll be giving away this week before your 4th of July, before your 4th of July travel plans. So make sure you're signed up and you're listening. We'll put them in the mail too for you, so you don't have to drive in and waste some gas and picking it up too. So before we get to C-Bomb here, if Yelich has 8 hits and 7 walks in his last 25 at-bats, how is his on-base percentage for something? Reminder, walks don't count as an official at-bat. So it's one of those weird statistics. If you look at baseball, Yelich is credited with 25 at-bats, but walks aren't considered an at-bat. So you got to factor that in there a little bit too. As one person like C-Bomb who never walked, it was either home run or strikeout every time for him. How you doing, sir? Good morning.
Well, good morning, El Capitano. You aren't lying.
I told you, right? Yeah. You never walked.
Hey,
You never had to worry about on-base percentage when you played.
swing hard in case you hit it. That's what I always said.
Nah, that a boy. Hey, you're going to Valley Fair today, aren't you?
I am. I'm taking the grandson up to Valley Fair. It's a bright, sunny day, so hopefully I don't turn into a lobster. But yep, that's the plan.
You have to let me know how that is. It's been since 8th grade, or it was 8th grade the last time I was there.
Ooh, yeah, that's been a while. It's changed a lot since then,
yeah.
Dan.
Yeah, it's been over 20 years.
Yeah. Well, you'll have to get up there and bring old Hutsy up there. You know, they have a lot of good stuff for little kids, and it's kind of funny though. Owen, you know, he's 5, but he wants to go on the big stuff. He's less scared than I am.
That a boy. Smart man. Hey, what's on your mind this morning there, big guy?
Well, a couple things. Number one, fill me in on this pasta salad. You just said it. I'm going to Valley Fair. I'm on vacation, so I missed the first 20 minutes of the show this morning. I apologize. What's the pasta salad thing all about?
So we're creating the ultimate backyard barbecue for 4th of July weekend, as voted on by the listeners. So we're each day we're coming up, with the side that you would have with your backyard barbecue sort of thing. So today is like the deli pasta salads. You go to the store and you get them in that plastic container, or you make it homemade or something like that. Today is the deli ones. Tomorrow we'll do probably like the other side, which is going to be more like the other stuff, like the baked beans or corn on the cob. Then we'll do the meat later, like on Thursday. We'll do like desserts on Wednesday or something like that. So today we're just doing the deli one, although G-Man already gave me his full menu, so I gotta break it up there. I can't say his whole menu yet.
Yeah, G-Man don't mess around when it comes to the tailgating and the sides. I can see that. I know that.
He's got the potato salad. So Surveyor, you're the you're the only one that says potato salad is overrated so far.
Potato salad's good. Nobody beats my mom's potato salad. You can't have too much mustard. You can't have too much mayo. There's a fine line there. Potato salad can be really good, or it can be really terrible.
You put onions in yours? That's a debate in our house.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yuck. I'm not an onion guy.
Come on. I know you're not, but onions are great. And, to be honest with you, though, when it comes to barbecue, it comes to any food, you can ask my wife. I am not a sides guy. You push that aside. We won't be needing any of this. Just load up the meat. Bring on the meat. That's all I need.
See, that's where you and I are different. I would just rather have all the sides. I could eat a whole container of like a pasta salad or a potato salad or something like that, and I'd be good.
Really? So for your macaroni salad, does it have to have cheese? I heard that comment from Surveyor. What's your take?
It has to have cheese. We're in Wisconsin for crying out loud. I mean, come on.
So here's the next question. With that cheese, does it have to be shredded or cubed?
Cubed.
I agree. Perfect.
100%. It has to be cubed. Then you get one on your fork right there, and it's like the best thing ever. That you happen to get a little cube on there.
Like a little nugget of goldenness, right?
Yes, exactly. Not a boy. I think Surveyor's going to be in the minority on this one.
Yep. Well, Surveyor, he's just not right. But we still love the guy.
No, sometimes. Sometimes. What else? Hey, fantastic weekend for the Brewers, huh? Yeah.
it was a great weekend for the Brewers. You know, they've won 7 out of their last 10, so I think they might be turning some things around. You know, you're talking about the top of the lineup. If we're good with them, I'm on the fence. I'm good with it. I think it's a good top of the lineup. I still think we need some help with the sticks. I need a guy or two to help. You know, and maybe I'm just pessimistic here. Maybe I'm just used to being heartbroken as a fan of Wisconsin teams. But boy, oh boy, you know, we get Woody back and Peralta back, and that's going to help a lot. But we still need to generate that offense. It was nice to have that big output yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I guess time will tell. But I still think we're a bat or two away.
Dude, it almost kind of reminds me when you look at that top 4. Remember it was the Casey McGee era, Prince Fielder and Corey Hart. Remember, we were trying to figure out, or at least the Brewers were trying to figure out who that 5th hitter was. In the middle of the lineup, they would always go like Casey McGee or Corey Hart, or then, you know, when Casey got benched, Jerry Hairston Jr. got plugged into the lineup. But I remember, you know, during that era, it was like, who's the 5th hitter? And it seemed like the Brewers just couldn't figure out who they were going to put in there. Casey had a great season, or, you know, season and a half, couple years there, but that was that time frame when I remember, like, they were trying to figure out who was that, essentially that protection for Prince Fielder right there.
Right. Yeah, and it's, you know, if you had just stepped back and really look at it and say, okay, your cleanup hitter come mid-season is going to be Andrew McCutchen, we'd be scratching our heads.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Rowdy Tellez has played really, really well. He's hit really well. I mean, you know, he's batting .248, but he's still that if you would have told me at the beginning of the year he's batting .248 and he's got 13 or 14 home runs, whatever he's had at this point in the season, I would have been thrilled with that. I think Willie Adames is playing well. Urias, you know, Adames and Urias just aren't, their averages aren't there. And I've broken record. I say it every day when we talk about Brewers, but we just need some guys on base, and we got to get them scoring. This team is feast or famine, man. We're scoring 10 runs against Toronto. Toronto's no series, and I'm glad we took it. That lineup, I just don't know. You know, we're relying on a 30-year-old Jonathan Davis and hoping he can provide something. I don't know if that's going to be the answer when we run into a team, especially if we get to where we hope to be. We're probably going to be playing the Yankees, and their lineup's a lot stronger than what we've got.
Yeah, you look at Rowdy Tellez. In the month of April, he batted .234. In the month of May, he batted .255. And so far in the month of June, he's batting .250. I mean, that's pretty darn consistent. If you'd have said, you know, if we're rounding it up, that, you know, at the end of June, Rowdy Tellez was batting around .250. He's got 13 homers right now and 45 RBIs. You know, at the beginning of the season, we were like, okay, should the Brewers go out there and get another first baseman? You know, how much do you want to, you know, put your faith into Rowdy Tellez as an everyday hitter? But, you know, end of June, heading into the 4th of July weekend, with the numbers that he has right now, are you satisfied with that? What you're getting, that type of production from Rowdy Tellez, knowing that he's not a big name first baseman. He's not a dude that's going to get 20, 25 million per year. But would you take those numbers from Rowdy Tellez?
Absolutely. I would have been happy with that. If you told me that at the beginning of the year, I would have thought, okay, that's great. But then if you would have told me we'd be, you know, the last spots that I thought we'd be struggling at is in the outfield position. And we got, or at third base even. Jace Peterson's only hitting .231. So, I mean, if, you know, I would have thought if one of the corners was going to struggle this year, I thought it would be Tellez. But boy, he has stepped up and shown that he's an everyday first baseman. I'm happy with .250 out of him.
Yeah.
But, you know, Taylor and Davis and, you know, McCutchen out there in the outfield for us. You know, we didn't know if Andrew McCutchen was going to be an everyday outfielder for us. We thought we were going to use him to spell everybody, but he's kind of been our most consistent piece out there right now. So I think we're in need of an outfielder. And Corey Ray, I don't know what happened to him. I thought he'd be called up, but he's been dying in the minors. I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, he's been around for a while and just hasn't been able to crack that, man. I mean, at some point you just kind of wonder, like, if it's best to move on. I mean, I hate to say that, but you know, he's just really not doing anything. He hasn't been able to take that jump past AAA. So far this year, he's batting .190 with 4 home runs in AAA. .190. Eesh.
Yeah, that's not going to get you called up.
No. No, and he's a career 235 in the minor leagues.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes you swing and miss when you're with these top prospects too. And I think that one might be one we missed on, which hurts a little bit. But I'll tell you what, it was, the team, the last week and a half has been much better than the start of June. And we're playing teams. You play in the Cardinals, you play in Toronto, and walking away, with more wins than losses in those two series. And we got a big one coming up against Tampa Bay. It stinks that JP Fire-Eisen, he's still got that shoulder injury, so he won't be pitching yet. But it's another tough series for a 2-gamer. And I think if we can at least split or walk away with a sweep there, I think that'll be huge.
Yeah, and I agree. And I think then after that Tampa thing, I know the shot clock's going to cut us off here, but then they're primed to go on a little bit of a run here. At least they should. Pittsburgh, Cubs, Pittsburgh, right after that. So I mean, they should be primed to go on a little bit of a run right there. They got to win those series against Pittsburgh, Cubs, and Pittsburgh.
Oh, absolutely. And that sets them up good. Then they got a little bit of a tough one with San Francisco right after a 2-game with Minnesota. But I think going into the All-Star break, they can be leading by a couple games in the division if they take care of business like they should. So I'm by no means, I'm always doom and gloom when we're talking Brewers, but I'm really pumped up about this team. We get Woody and Peralta back, and it's going to be a fun rest of the season.
I agree. All right. You have fun at Valley Fair, man. Let's see some pictures later on, okay?
Right on, my brother. Have a great day. Thanks for having me.
You got it. There you go. There's Seabaum hopping off, and then Surveyor really quick. My gosh, no wonder why Seabaum looks like he eats barbells for breakfast. Meat-only diet. All right. Let's that shot clock's going to cut me off here any second. So coming up next hour, we'll talk a little bit with JC and EC, Justice Cleveland. Talk some more baseball with him. Get these votes coming on in, people, all right? Keep them coming on in. We're creating the ultimate backyard barbecue as voted on by you for 4th of July weekend. 1 in, 2 more to go. Stick around. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
WAYY Eau Claire, W286CK Eau Claire, Sports Talk, 105.1, 790 AM. Sports Talk 105.1 with the very latest local news.
It was the gavel drop heard around the world and now heading back into a new week with Friday's action by the U.S. Supreme Court overturning Roe v. Wade, Wisconsin's 1849 criminal abortion.
All right, here we go. Second hour kicking off on this Monday morning, last Monday in the month of June. Appreciate you tuning in, however you are tuning in and wherever you may be tuning in. It is a Studs and Duds Monday, so get your lists on over, Studs and Duds. Text those babies, 715-830-1912. Tweet it, Facebook it, YouTube comment on it there. Also, it is a armchair quarterbacking, Monday morning armchair quarterbacking. Get to that coming up probably next hour or so. Plus, we're taking your votes. It is the 4th of July Ultimate Backyard Barbecue. So we're taking your votes on how you, the listeners, would create the ultimate backyard barbecue for 4th of July. Today, we're picking like the deli pasta salads, the deli salads, and that. And so far, the leader is potato salad. Sorry, surveyor, but that's the leader in the clubhouse right now. So you got to text it, tweet it, Facebook it, comment on the video stream what you would do, because I'm not going to put up a poll, because if I put up a poll on Twitter, I only get 4 options. And then somebody's going to yell at me for not putting on a certain one on there. So we're just doing write-in ballots for this thing. And right now, it is potato salad, and just keep it generic. You don't have to go into detail like your great aunt Susie's recipe or something like that. Just keep it generic or anything like that. So let's get these votes rolling. And tomorrow we'll do another one. And then we got like the meats and all that sort of stuff coming up here too. So no, can't. Dennis, deli salad. My side would be nope. It's got to be the pasta. The other side's coming. Gotta follow the rules, Dennis. Got to follow the rules. It's got to be one of those salads that you get like from behind the counter, and they got to put it on the weight scale in the plastic container, or you make it from home. Nachos would be a different side. That's coming later. Got to pick the pasta one. Justice, what would you vote for? What would you vote for?
Oh, is coleslaw anywhere in there?
That's a deli one. That is absolutely a deli one. 100%.
Big fan of coleslaw, but oh man, potato salad. Oh, the macaroni salad.
Mm-hmm.
Chicken wing, breakfast temple. I don't know why that got in my head from when I said macaroni. But,
so you'd go coleslaw?
I love coleslaw. I really do.
Okay.
But it's a tough choice. They're also, whenever I'm at somewhere and they have all the pasta and the coleslaw, I'm just mowing down on that stuff.
I have a separate plate for all that stuff because I'd have like 3 or 4 different ones on there.
Yep. Same thing.
Philly fan Dave is picking potato salad. Surveyor needs to take a long look at the direction of his life. Okay.
Wow. We're getting deep.
Man, yeah. Let's get this little trash talk going on here. I like it. All right, Surveyor, you have got a couple minutes to respond to that one. Okay. But we'll do the other sides. It's like tomorrow will be the other sides where we can do like the corn on the cob, beans, or what dip or whatever sort of thing.
What about fluff? What are we standing on fluff?
Ooh, that'd probably be the dessert portion.
Okay. Yeah, it is a dessert. I mean, I usually eat it like it's a meal, but it is a dessert.
Yeah. So, because we're going to do 2 sides, we'll do the meat, and then we got a dessert coming this week. And then whatever the votes tabulate, G-Man's got to make it for everybody. So that's
there
the
you
deal.
go.
He doesn't know that until now, but that's what he's got to do. So surprise, G-Man. All right, let's do. How was your weekend though? First, good weekend.
Good.
Yeah.
Yep. I was over at the in-laws on the other side of the state. Just sitting around, doing a little fishing. Caught a couple of walleye out of the pond there.
Nice.
It went well. It was nice. Very nice. Nice first weekend of summer.
Nice. Attaboy. So, all right, let's do some sports nuggets to kick off this hour. Not a whole lot here, but 1876, Dave Force of the Philadelphia Athletics became the first National League player to get 6 hits in a 9-inning game. We've got 1972, Bobby Hull signed a 10-year hockey contract for $2.5 million. He became a player and coach for the Winnipeg Jets of the World Hockey Association. We got, let's go 1988 in Atlantic City. Mike Tyson knocked out Michael Spinks in 91 seconds. Jose Canseco in 1990 signed a contract with the Oakland A's worth up to $4.7 million a year. And then in 2004, the Boston Red Sox scored 10 runs before making an out against the Florida Marlins. The final score was 25-8. Those are
Yeesh.
those are just some of your sports nuggets for this June 27th day. We were talking some baseball in the first hour there, JC, but Brewers taking 2 out of 3 against the Blue Jays, one of the better teams in the league, and maybe not living up to the expectations everybody had at the preseason. A lot that would mean they were a popular World Series pick, but a lot of it could be due to the Yankees and just on the tear that they're at in the AL East. But nonetheless, taking 2 out of 3 against a team that's over 500, because everybody talks about beating teams over 500. That's a good weekend for the Brewers, isn't it?
Oh, it's very, very good, especially after, the struggles to start the month. Now they've kind of righted the ship and, you're in first place. They got the predicted split
Yeah.
with St. Louis that was going to happen. I feel like they're going to do it all year long with those two teams. So, but yeah, to come back and take 2 of 3 from the Blue Jays, yeah, it shows that they're kind of getting back to the right place still while battling injuries. So many injuries on that pitching staff, but they've win and they're finding a way to stay in first place.
And then they got the off day today where they'll have 2 games against Tampa Bay, but Woodruff's going to get start tomorrow. So a little bit healthier, getting one of their better starting pitch back into rotation. So, just bringing a guy like Woodruff back into rotation, I've got to imagine will inject a little bit of energy within that clubhouse too, just having Woody back. And obviously we know with his talent, but, just from just like an emotional side of things and mentally having him back in your clubhouse and your dugout and seeing him on the mound, that's got to provide a little bit of boost, I would imagine, for this Brewers team too.
Oh, definitely. They're going to want to try to get a win for him. They want to no matter what, but I think it'll, give that little more emotional boost because you've got your second ace back in the rotation and hopefully for the long term. And, when you have Burns and you have Woodruff back in that pitching rotation, that's when opposing teams see that.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to make them a little more nervous. You're nervous anytime Corbin Burns steps onto the mound if you're an opposing team because he could throw feels like at any moment at this throwing lately. So yeah, that's huge for them. And just to, credit for the fact that they've been able to find guys to come in and keep them going. Jason Alexander going 2-0 in these kind of spot starts that he's had there.
Yeah.
That's been huge. So it's, I think things as we get closer and closer to the All-Star game, if they can kind of keep things on this keel here, they should be set up pretty good for the second half.
I agree. And then we were kind of going over how, the rest of Major League Baseball was looking and the standings. The AL, I know it's only June. It's the end of June here, but it's hard not to say that the Yankees and the Astros, they've almost got their divisions, I would say, almost locked up here. Especially the Astros. They're just everybody else is behind them, and the Yankees are on such a run right now. Then you got the AL Central, Twins in Cleveland. You still got the White Sox 5.5 back there too, so that's a little bit up in the air. But the National League, I would say, is still kind of open, even with the Mets 5.5 up on Atlanta. But we just saw the run that the Braves went on, and they're the defending World Series champions, so don't count them out. NL West, Dodgers, Padres, Giants 6.5 back. So at least the NL is a little bit more up in the air, I guess you could say.
Yeah, thank goodness for the wild card.
Yeah,
because that's for maybe in the AL, that might be the only compelling race that's going on. I think the Central, Cleveland could come back and win this series that they have against the Twins this week and be right back in first place there. So that one could probably be going back and forth the rest of the year. But yeah, when you look at the Yankees up 11 games on the Red Sox and the Rangers 10 games behind the Astros, it's hard to imagine those are going to be compelling. Again, anything can happen. A 10-game winning streak erases a lot of that if it happens. But
right.
Yeah. The NL has a little bit of those, with the Central and the West going on there. So, yeah, it's going to be fun. I think the Brewers and Cardinals are going to do what the Brewers and Cardinals do. They're going to battle right down to the end there. So, yeah, it's interesting to see how it all plays out. But you want some compelling battles, and I'm okay. I'd be okay if the Cardinals were 5 games back, but I just don't see it happening because Cardinals they're the roaches of baseball. You think they're gone, and then they somehow manage to be there.
Yep. We're all almost the halfway point of this regular season. The Brewers are 75 games in, so about 6 games. Yeah, 6 games away from the halfway point. So we got this Toronto series, and then with the Pittsburgh series coming up here too. After this Pittsburgh series, it'll be halfway through about halfway through it through the regular season here. So how much do you know, that 4th of July weekend, is that another benchmark you kind of use to look at how a team's doing and kind of where they're at, or is Memorial Day more of that benchmark when you kind of know what a team really is going to be for that season, in your opinion?
I think they're both good benchmarks. I think, you look at Memorial Day and you're like, okay, this is where they're sitting right now. What can they do here in this next, kind of break it into quarters? And I think the 4th of July is that next quarter. So, yeah, I think they're both good benchmarks. I mean, if you think about it for the Brewers, right now they're sitting pretty for just battling for a playoff spot, period. But yeah, to be in first place in your division is even more important.
Mhm.
You can look at it and still worry, is their run differential is the worst, I think, of any team leading a division by far.
Yeah.
The Twins are the closest. Twins are only plus 32. The Brewers are only plus 18, which is insane to think that they're 9 games over 500, but are only plus 18 in run differential.
Yeah.
So you obviously want to see those bats come alive, and you would like to see them maybe perform a little better at home. 19 and 15 at home is not what you kind of expect from a first place team.
And you mentioned the run differential. We were kind of talking about that late last week. And a big difference is a 10-3 victory yesterday. You take a
Right.
7 away, and that's not even double digits.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at these.
Or it's
these-
close to, it's a little bit over, but still this weekend, heading into this weekend, it wasn't even double digits for the Brewers.
Now, say that like the Rays are only plus 19 and they're 8 games over 500. So it's not like they're the total outlier, but I mean, there are teams that are the Marlins are 5 games under 500, but are like right about the same.
Mhm.
So that just speaks volumes of how good this pitching staff has been for the Brewers.
I asked this, I think on Friday with Brandon. I'll ask you, because everybody looks at like the records against teams over 500. But when you kind of look at it and you take away the Yankees and some of those other teams, they're pretty darn close. Like either it's right at 500, maybe a game or two above 500. I'm talking about the top teams, or even below 500. I mean, how much of a factor, or how much should we be looking at those records against teams over 500? Because when you take away the Yankees in that, a lot of those teams have similar records. You know what I mean? Like, do we tend to hype that up a little too much?
I think we do, because you got to play your schedule. You play who you play. And if you're going to beat Pittsburgh in 4 straight games, you're going to beat Pittsburgh in 4 straight games. I'd much rather them just win the games they're supposed to win, get into the playoffs, and then everything else will sort itself out. So I don't know. In my mind, I think that's just an overblown metric, because I think it's baseball and things can change from day to day. So you could be playing the Yankees and lose 10-1 and then come back and shut them out the next day. So I think it's an overblown metric, really. You play your schedule and you whatever's in front of you, and if you're beating the teams that you're supposed to beat and you get in the playoffs, no one should hold that against you.
I agree. I agree with you, man. So, all right, let's take a quick break here. Then I want to talk a little hoops, because this week, on the 30th, actually, on June 30th, Thursday, the NBA free agency period will officially be open. At that time, teams and players can begin negotiating contracts and agreeing in principle to new deals, but those signings won't become officially official until after the league's certain period, which typically lasts around 1 week. It's kind of like that legal tampering crap in the NFL, which is just ridiculous. But I digress. So let's talk a little hoops in terms of, like, if you are a Bucks fan, what would be on your wish list, your realistic wish list? All right, so get your Sears Toyland catalog out, and you're making your Christmas list on there, and you're circling and dog-earing the pages and on that. But you gotta, grandma and grandpa are telling you, okay, be a little realistic with your things. You're not going to be getting the Sega Genesis this year because it's a couple $100. We're talking old school stuff here. So, but what would be on your Christmas wish list for the Bucks if you were a Milwaukee Bucks fan? So let's talk a little hoops. Change it up here just a little bit here this morning. We'll take that quick break. Don't forget to continue to vote for the all-time, or the backyard ultimate barbecue. We've got Dennis on YouTube going with a bacon ranch pasta salad.
Ooh,
That's a good
I'm,
one.
yeah, I'm not going to disagree with any of these. They're all great.
We're
So
just going to
it's
make you
like,
hungry this morning there. That's
Right,
all we're going to do,
exactly.
Justice. All right,
No,
we'll be
yeah.
back in just a couple minutes. Do you remember the countless times when you were young and playing in the backyard? let's chat a little hoops here. Just change it up here just a little bit. Free agency opening up on Thursday in the NBA, and I would say that Bucks have a couple of decisions, maybe even a few decisions that they got to make. What do you think is the biggest decision with this offseason, with this free agency, Justice, that the Bucks have to decide or have to figure out?
Oh boy. I mean, in my mind, it's just how much are you willing to pay for some of these guys out there? Because if you do that, then you're going to have to completely kind of shake up your roster.
Mhm.
Do they need somebody? I mean, do they really need to bring in another big key? It seems like let's just bring in another guy. So, oh yeah, that to me, that's the toughest thing is like, are you willing to kind of pay the price to bring in another big name? And I don't know if it's even possible for them to get some of those bigger names. I mean, getting down that line there, obviously the wish list. There's guys that you would love, Zach LaVine or Bradley Beal.
Right.
But good luck because you're going to have to pay them max contracts.
Yeah, and I think
Bucks don't have the room to do that.
no, and I think I saw that the talk is now that Beal's going to sign $248 million with Washington, which I think that's great news for Johnny Davis.
Right,
Me
that's what I was
personally.
thinking too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
And the other guy, like DeAndre Ayton, doesn't really fit the system
mhm.
unless you want to put him in that Brook Lopez role, but I don't think he's more of a traditional center,
Right.
compared to what Lopez has done now, where he's shooting all the threes. So, yeah, I don't. In my mind, I just see them kind of having to shore up their own house. I don't see them making a huge splash. That's just I just don't see it happening with the way the money situation is there.
So we found out Pat Connaughton's going to pick up his option, so he's staying with the Bucks. The one that's still out there is Bobby Portis, and I know a few days ago that there was a report that teams expect him to hit free agency and maybe get a little bit more of a payday out there. I mean, I would like Bobby Portis back with the
Right.
Bucks there, but if it came down to keeping Bobby Portis or Brook Lopez, which would you prefer at that point? Did we lose you, Justice? I think we lost Justice. Oh no. The audio is gone. All right, Justice, if you can hear us, we can't hear you. So but that's still the other move out there that we're still kind of waiting on, whether Bobby Portis is going to be picking up that player option, or if he's going to decide to hit free agency and maybe get a little bit of extra coin out there. But I mean, we can look at these free agent lists out there, and we could kind of come up with, that wish list. Do you want another shooter? Do you want a guy that can create his own shot? Did the absence of Chris Middleton in the postseason, did that kind of open up some eyes maybe and say like, okay, without Middleton, the Bucks still need a player that can, go out there and create his own, or be a reliable, Grayson Allen. You had a couple of great games there when Chris Middleton was out, right? Especially against the Bulls. But then with that Celtics series, without Chris Middleton, did that kind of show something where it's like, all right, they still got a couple of holes here that they've got to address during free agency this season to try to, get themselves back into contender status. That might be a little too dramatic. I mean, they're still a contender for crying out loud out there. But, did that kind of open up, like JC was saying, Zach LaVine, that's going to be a pipe dream. And that's not going to happen. That dude's going to make some bank. Kyrie Irving's not on the wish list. Do you even want Kyrie? I don't want Kyrie Irving. But you look at some of these other guys that are available. Maybe if we're looking at the two guards, if that's a position that you want the Bucks to go out there and, that shooting guard. Are names realistic that you would like to Bucks kind of target? Did I hear you, Justice?
I'm back. That was a complete system shutdown. So
how dare you, sir?
Everything just shut off. That was not fun.
We were just kind of talking about, maybe some like positions and all that sort of stuff too. But I think the question I asked you before you went to break, if it came down to either Bobby Portis or Lopez, which one would you prefer to keep?
Oh, I think Bobby.
Yeah.
I think with this back surgery that Lopez just had, it's kind of a ticking time at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Or yes, it might be completely repaired, but at his age and playing at that height, with Portis being 10 years younger,
Somewhere, yeah, it sure seems
Right
like
there.
it. Yeah.
so I would probably go Bobby Portis. And Portis is just such a spark plug. Not that Lopez isn't. He's kind of the same. They're both really good rah guys when they're out there. But if I had to choose between the two, I think Portis has a better shelf life right now, and probably I don't know. It just depends on how much he's going to be able to get out there and how what's the market going to drive him,
Mm-hmm.
drive his contract. So yeah, that is a lot of tough decisions, especially when you're coming off 2 successful seasons like the Bucks have had. People are willing to overpay for role guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Portis is still relatively young when it comes to NBA age. So yeah, we'll have to see how it goes like that.
Did the playoff series with no Chris Middleton, did that open? We've talked about this with the Packers once in a while when Aaron Rodgers is out, but with no Chris Middleton, with those playoffs, did it show some of the other weaknesses on this team that they have to improve? Like, do they need another guy that can create his own shot? Do they need a better option at the 2-guard spot, that shooting guard spot? Did the playoffs showcase any of that in your opinion?
I think so. I think it just showed maybe they need a little better depth at those positions. So yeah, like you said, they didn't really have anybody else who could step up and create quite like Middleton did. And then you kind of put Drew Holiday in that position and Giannis maybe too much into that position. Giannis could do it, obviously, but when you kind of, it became Giannis just kind of forcing it. And the same thing with Drew. I think there wasn't as much as a rhythm that you would had if Middleton would have been in there
Mm-hmm.
for having that option. So I think just built that depth a little bit would be really good. So if you can find that option that can come off the bench or just insert into the starting lineup, that would be great. But yeah, it's going to take there's going to be so much money floating around this free agency. It just the Bucks. I don't know. We'll see what they can do. I mean, those guys can work with the cap. So I just don't see them making a huge splash.
The one thing I was kind of wondering too, like everybody's talking about the Bulls as being a team that's, kind of rising. They surprised a lot of people last year. I know they trailed off a little bit. Bucks beat them in the postseason. But I mean, that's a team that everybody's kind of like looking at like, okay, maybe they can make a bigger jump this year. Well, that's a team that the Bucks, face in their own division. So, I mean, if I'm John Horst or if I'm the Bucks, I've got to be at least a little bit aware what's going on a little bit to the south of me, right, with Chicago, and be like, all right, we know the East is, Bucks. You got the Celtics in there. Who the hell knows what's going on with the Nets and the 76ers this offseason? You got Miami, who was the number 1 team. I mean, the East, it's pretty loaded there too. So if I'm the Bucks, I at least have to have that in my mind. Like, hey, we might be competing with these other teams within our own conference for a lot of these other players, and that's what else is going to drive up the price tag on some of these dudes.
Oh, definitely. When you have teams in the same conference division just battling for these same players, yeah, each GM is going to want to out top the other one. So, yeah, I completely agree with that point. I mean, it's going to be – it's an arms race. That's how the NBA is. And we've really seen that in the last few years that, you got to have that big 3, but having that next person and those bench players, that hasn't changed. You need to have depth, and that to drive up the market.
What about, we mentioned this a couple weeks ago, but could a reunion with Dante DiVincenzo be an option? He's a free agent.
Why not? I mean, he's a guy who knows the system.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think, bringing him back doesn't hurt anything. So, yeah, I wouldn't doubt. I mean, the rest of the guys, there's a lot of empty. There's some cap space they can find.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Serge Ibaka, Jordan Nora, Wes Manning, a lot of these are free agent holds. So, there's a lot of guaranteed contract. Yeah. Have you seen the breakdown for the Bucks? Guaranteed salary 55 and the non-guaranteed 3.6 million. So yeah, that's where you've got to find some way to make that wiggle room to get some people. So yeah, they're kind of strapped that way. So there's not going to be a big name. I just don't think there's going to be a big name. But like somebody like a Dante DiVincenzo, I would be fine bringing him back because he's proven that he can play and he can play well. So, and a guy who knows the system, knows the city, I would be all for back.
And he had, when he went to Sacramento as part of that deal, I mean, he had a good season with Sacramento. He played in 25 games. He averaged where's that at 10.3 points per game. Was his 3-point percentage over there, shooting about 30% from three. We know about his energy, defense, and that possibility over there too. So, I mean, I think the big question again is like, who plays two guard? Who plays a shooting guard for this team? No offense to Wesley Matthews, but is he a starter for this team? I don't think. Grayson Allen, would you rather have him coming off the bench or starting? I think they've got to figure out that shooting guard position right now.
Right. And I think Grayson's more of a bench player, in my opinion. I think he's a guy who comes off the bench, gives you that spark. And right now in the depth chart, he would be the starting. They have him listed as the starting shooting guard with Pat Connaughton coming off the bench. But I'd almost rather have Connaughton out there at this point. So, yeah. Well, knowing like 2 days that, like you said, with the Bobby Portis player option on June 29th.
Yeah. And I think that's a big thing out there.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like the thing that the Bucks maybe are kind of waiting on to see what's going to happen.
And where are you with Jordan Nora?
Yeah.
Nora. Like, where do you think he's gone? It's been 2 years. He did, he averaged 8 points a game.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you think he's made a step? You really can put him out there more. So that's another decision they have to make too. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of those guys though, they just have behind them. Giannis is, obviously the big part of that salary, but you keep his brother on the team just because it probably makes Giannis happy. It's not like he has the biggest contract, but you might need every little cent you can to bring in somebody who's going to be a really good bench player, or maybe does get that shooting guard spot.
And that's what makes the draft so hard. And I know the NBA draft was last week, but that's what makes it so difficult, especially when you're drafting in the back end, is because a lot of teams, we don't know if they're first round picks, but we don't know if they're going to be ready to be regular contributors on the team. We don't know if Marjan's going to be ready to go and log in 20 some minutes or be a primary backup. We don't know that. That's why the NBA draft, unless you're like a top pick and you're going to get a bunch of playing time and maybe even be an instant starter, well, a lot of times in the back end, it might take a couple years. It might take a year to crack that. And that's where it makes it a little bit more difficult with this Bucks team too, is like, I don't know how much we can count on with Marjan being an impact player right away, because we just don't know. We don't know what he's going to be able to bring.
It seems almost half the time when you draft somebody in the NBA, if they're not a superstar right away, it's not until they're on a different team that, after 3 or 4 years that they just, kind of hit that role. So that's a tough decision to make of like, am I ready to commit to this guy, though we've barely kind of seen him play. So yeah, the NBA draft, I mean, I would love to see like the breakdown of almost like the viewership after the lottery's done. Because after that, it's just like, they're going with this guy. Who knows?
Yep.
And you usually don't know a couple years later. I mean, it's like it's similar to a lot of drafts, but especially in the NBA, it's so top heavy, and then it's a crapshoot after that. So you can't guarantee anything with a draft pick, even a late first round.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know.
Yeah, and I think that just you factor that in here too. You'd like to think, first rounders like, oh yeah, it's different than the NFL. It's completely different than the NFL. Yep. So. I hope the kid works out. It seems like the stuff you read and you hear about him. He sounds like a great player and a great person, but not every team is going to be as patient too, like they were with Giannis.
Right.
That's the other thing too. Is like you got to have a total franchise organization commitment to be that patient with a guy like Giannis.
Yeah, you have to see the big picture, and that is not easy to do. Really, is not easy to do when it's a win, especially like if you think about the Bucks and where they were at, if they didn't, if Giannis didn't work out, they might not be in Milwaukee anymore.
Yeah.
And that was a huge risk.
Yep.
And it worked out. But when you look back on the past Bucks drafts, it's just been, there's not a whole lot to write home about.
No.
Since Giannis.
We were kind of looking at, the latest first round picks. Giannis and Dante might have been the better first round picks in the last 10, 15 years.
Right. I mean, Jabari had a year.
Yeah.
Where he was, really, really good. But Malcolm Brogdon was a second round pick.
Yep.
So, it's one of those where you found some lightning in a bottle. But yeah, I mean, they really haven't had great success. Obviously, that other than a generational player, which I guess you can kind of trade off if that's the case. But yeah, you would love to hope that Marjan could be that next big player that they found in the draft. But other than that, yeah, there hasn't been a whole lot to write home about.
No, not at all. All right, Bucks fans, what do you think? What's on your wish list? You can just give us a position, or if you got a player, anything like that, hit us up with some texts, tweets, Facebook, or comments on the video stream. We got to take a quick break, and let's talk a little bit more baseball too here. MLB.com, they've got an article up: 8 trade candidates on the rise and where they could go. And yes, there's a player attached with the Brewers. We'll tell you who that is and whether you agree with that or not. But first, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with some more baseball talk after these quick words. Okay, before we get to a little baseball talk here, Surveyor has responded to everybody who is calling him out on his potato salad take. Look, this is simple. It goes number 1, macaroni, number 2, coleslaw, number 3, potato salad. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying there are better things. Both macaroni and coleslaw are nice and creamy. That is cooling to the palate. Potato salad is a thick, chunky substance that makes you want to take a nap afterwards. But hey, apparently I'm wrong.
They all make you want to take a nap afterwards. I will, because I'm eating too much of all of it. So now this weekend we had some pulled pork with the coleslaw on top.
Yes.
Highly recommend. If you have not done that in your life, it's going to change your life, man. Do it.
Yep.
Just do it.
Completely agree with you. I don't think a lot of people realize that. Yes, put the coleslaw on the pulled pork.
Oh,
completely
so good.
Changes it. Yep.
Had ribs too this weekend.
Jeez.
Ribs, pulled pork. It was a meal. It was so good, and I took a nap.
So get your votes in. So I'm sorry, Surveyor, but potato salad is still leading. So you can vote, text, tweet, Facebook, or on the video stream there. You got all day though, all day to vote.
Right. And I agree with Sir. I'm a big coleslaw guy, but I can understand all the other.
So do you prefer the creamy coleslaw, or do you prefer like the oily?
Oh, creamy.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, not the oily. Or there's there's like different types of potato salad.
There is.
There's German potato salad, which I cannot support the German potato salad because it's just such a weird taste. So we're talking traditional potato salad. We're good.
All right. That's why I just want to keep it generic sort of thing. So
yeah, exactly, because you can get into the variations.
Yeah, and then really argue with people there. So
right.
MLB.com's got 8 trade candidates on the rise and where they could go. So we know the trade deadline just over a month away, August 2nd, which is still kind of weird to say August 2nd because it's going to be July coming up here in a few days. But so a little over a month away. But it's not stopping people from maybe speculating on some players who could be on the move. And so MLB.com's got a list of 8 players on here, and they've got the Brewers listed for one player in particular, Brandon Drury from the Cincinnati Reds, third baseman. Their little write-up says if it feels like anybody on the Reds roster could be on the block, it's because they probably are. Brandon is earning just $900,000 this year and has one more year of arbitration eligibility before becoming a free agent, but he turns 30 in August and doesn't figure to be a building block for Cincinnati. The versatile outfielder has thrived in June, slashing .333, .378, .619 with 7 home runs in 21 games. So far on the season, he is .272 with an OPS of .859 and 15 home runs. I'd get on board with that one.
Oh, yeah. I would too. I mean, career 250 hitter, so I would just assume that he comes to Milwaukee and that drops under 250. But so far, what he's doing, yeah, I mean, 272, 15 home runs, 38 RBIs in 62 games. I would take that. I mean, the Brewers really can't be too picky. You got to start throwing stuff at the wall and seeing if it can work offensively. The pitching will allow you to win the games, but if you can find some magic and if it takes a move, I'd be all for it.
Yeah, no, I like that one. I opened it up expecting maybe Brian Reynolds to be on there. And Brian Reynolds is on here, but they don't have him as a fit for the Brewers, which doesn't mean anything at this point. Center fielder with the Pirates over there, but maybe it's just I don't know. But I would think that would be a potential fit for the Brewers too. Now that Lorenzo Cain's not there, and maybe they want an everyday option over there at center field.
Who's the guy that you'd be most willing to part with to maybe try to add some more assets? Is there anybody in particular of these starters you'd say, okay, we can probably handle not having him?
Any starter on this team?
Yeah.
That another team would be willing to take on though too.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is Colton Wong somebody you'd be like, okay, well, he hasn't been in the lineup a lot. Am I willing to part with him to maybe get a more dependable bat?
So my question then would be, if they go after and get Brandon at third base, you could put Luis Urias at second, and then maybe that makes Colton Wong more expendable.
Yeah. They're going to have some decisions to make. I think they're going to have to find some offense. You can ride this pitching staff as much as you want, but you get to the playoffs And if you don't have offense, you're probably not going to the World Series. And I think we've seen that with the Brewers. That's what happened the last year. You know, you had a great pitching staff, but when you get to the playoffs, everybody has a great pitching staff.
Mm-hmm.
So you need a little more offense. They need something. They need a spark plug. And I mean, I know credit to what Rowdy and Adames have done, and even Hunter Renfroe when he's been healthy. Those three have been big spark plugs.
Mm-hmm.
And Yelich, I mean, credit to Yelich too. What he's done in the leadoff spot, he's become a consistent bat. So there's potential there, but we've been talking about the potential of this offense since last year,
Right?
And we still haven't really seen it with a lot of the. You know, there's obviously the 2-3 guys that are hitting the home runs and kind of consistent, but I think they just need one more spark.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody else they can throw out there that can kind of be more consistent too. So
if you had to come up with your top 3 or maybe top 5 starters or regular players, let's say that you would be okay with the Brewers trading, I'd probably put Colton on there. Would you put Keston on there?
I think so, because I think, you know, Keston still being relatively young, still, you know, teams are going to say, okay, well, he's only hitting 208, but man, as a pinch hitter, he's done a decent job, and maybe he gets consistent at bats. You never know; it could turn around. Now, obviously, Brewer fans would be like, well, we gave him consistent at bats, and it didn't work last year.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he would be a guy that you'd look at and say, okay, well, this guy has that. I mean, what would you think about Tyrone Taylor's a tough one?
He is, because he's a versatile guy that you can
Right.
plug into. You know, he's that fourth outfielder that every team likes to have.
So I feel like you don't touch him.
I agree.
What about if somebody says, can we have Luis Urias?
Then you got to keep Colton Wong, you know, because who else are you playing over at second at that point?
Right, exactly. So, I mean, I'm sure this is just how it is every day being a GM and just kind of like shuffling and like, who can we survive moving to get another piece? So again, that's why I've only done it on video games.
You know, do they look at their backup catcher, Victor, as a positive?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, because you're going to have, I just completely blanked. I just blanked on his name.
Oh, the guy coming off the suspension list.
Yeah, I had it and I completely blanked, brain fart here. But you know, when that's up, I mean, you know, there's a possibility there.
Yep.
What about pitching staff? Adrian Hauser?
Yeah, I mean, that might be the thing is like once they get, and now Freddie's not going to be back for a while, so you don't have to, think about that. But once with Woodruff, if Woodruff comes back, Ashby comes back, do you kind of look at, okay, can we afford to give away one of these arms? But him and Woodruff are the oldest guys.
Yeah.
That are the starters. So, and I think Hauser could get you something. I know he's only 4-8, but he's shown that he can pitch very, very well. So,
Hauser, Ashby,
or
Eric Lauer, which one would you rather? Which two would you keep?
Oh, I think, well, you got to keep. He's 24 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I know he's only 1-5, but I mean, the potential there is to be another Corbin Burns if things work right. And so I would keep Ashby. I think Hauser would be the one. I think he'd be the one guy that I would say, okay, he might be the one. Now, the tough thing is, Hauser and Lauer have been maybe your most consistent guys out there next to Burns because they've made all their starts, basically. So I think Hauser would be the one that I'd be willing to part with.
Do you think George Costanza could fetch anything?
Well, 29 years old, 2-0. If they're not, I think his stock is definitely rose since he's come to the Brewers. So. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see what Chichi Gonzalez can do here and how long he ends up staying with the big league team. Because if he has another performance like his first 2 starts,
I mean, you're pretty much guaranteed he's going to give up a couple of runs at least every time he's out there.
He's a guy. He's a Band-Aid right now.
Yeah.
He's a guy you have to throw out there because you just don't have anybody else right now that's had that experience that you want to throw out there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, basically right now we're David Stearns and we're looking at all these possibilities. I think he wakes up every day and just like stares at the roster and is just like, okay, what can we do here? You know who's has got to be happiest about this Brewers season though so far? The Timber Rattlers, because they've had like named Brewer player there the last month. I feel like every week the last month playing for them because they've just had so many guys coming back up and getting rehab starts. So the T-Rats are enjoying it. little more tough if you're a Brewers fan or somebody in the Brewers front office.
Yeah. And, you got Hunter Renfroe, who was back on the IL because of a calf injury. And then Craig Counsell saying that, or Hunter saying that the MRI did show a little bit more damage than they thought. So that's, that's a power bat too, that if he's already saying there's a little bit damage on there, got to imagine it's probably going to be longer than a 10-day stint on there.
Right, because remember, it just started out as he's going to be out a couple days.
Mm-hmm.
Then they threw him on the 10-day. So, yeah, you're right. It might be a lot longer than that. And then, even if he comes back, then you're probably seeing him play more DH.
That's true.
You don't want him out in the outfield having a chance to aggravate that. You'd rather have him have his bat in the lineup and having a chance to hit. So, yeah, never easy. Never easy. We were talking, I think, in the first 2 months, how the Brewers kind of escaped relatively unscathed those first 2 months. But, man, it has really come come June, and the floodgates have opened with the injuries.
I agree. All right, that shot clock's going to cut me off here. So, dude, appreciate you popping on here again. It flew on by there, baby.
Oh, I did. It was a lot of fun.
So, final answer, you're going coleslaw?
I'm sticking with my coleslaw.
All right, we got a couple more votes for coleslaw. So, this is we got it. It's getting closer now between, I would say, potato salad's 1, coleslaw is right behind it, and then the macaroni's at 3.
I know. There's a lot of people that really hate coleslaw, so it'll be I don't think it's going to overcome potato salad.
You don't think it will, especially here in Wisconsin?
Yeah.
All right.
Be tough.
All right. All right, dude. Have a good rest of your week, okay, bud? We'll chat soon.
Yes, everybody else have a good week, too.
Yeah, all righty. We got 2 in. We got 1 more to go. Let's kick off the 8 o'clock hour with little studs and duds. Who's made your studs and duds list? Text those babies on over. We'll be back after these quick words.
WAYY Eau Claire.
All right, final hour kicking off on this Monday morning. What up, everybody? Hopefully, you all had a fantastic weekend and you're up and at it and ready to go here for the final week of June. Already coming at you, June 27th. Just a few more days and we're already in July, baby. We're going to get to some studs and duds here in just a couple of minutes. But Brewers fans, let me throw out a scenario to you, just kind of based off of what Justice and I were chatting about there for a little bit. But who would be like your top three everyday players? Let's make it easy. Top three that are on your 40-man roster. So on the Brewers, like 40-man roster or even 26-man. Really, let's keep it 40-man roster. But like an everyday player or a guy who's like a main bench player for this Brewers team, give me your top three that you would be okay with the Brewers trading to bring in maybe some different impact player or just making a move before the trade deadline. We got August 2nd is the trade deadline. So we've got some time out there. But like MLB.com's got a new piece up with some 8 names out there that could be available by the trade deadline. 8 names whose stock is rising. But if there was, in order to get these players, Brewers are going to have to give up some players. And probably a player that a team is looking at like, okay, we can build. That player could be a part of our building block for our team. So is there anybody on the Brewers who gets regular playing time that you would be good with, like an Adrian Hauser, or do you put Luis Urias on there? But then who do you play at second? Obviously you've got Colton Wong, or at third base. I think if you trade Luis Urias, you're probably gonna want a third baseman return. I don't know, but give me your 3. Okay, top three players on this Brewers team that if they were a part of a trade, you'd be okay with. Keston, put him on there too. So we'll look at some of the responses coming up a little bit later on. We are taking your picks because we kicked off this week the ultimate 4th of July backyard barbecue, where our listeners right now are creating what would be on their plate for their 4th of July backyard barbecue. Just going to go one day at a time with different stuff. So today, day 1 with the voting is the deli salads. Whether you make them or whether you go to the grocery store and you get them in that plastic tub and they put them on the scale. Give me a pound of that potato salad or something like that. That's what we're focusing on today. And right now, I've added the votes from all the texts and the messages. Potato salad 1, coleslaw 2, macaroni salad 3. Those are your top 3 right now. So keep those votes coming, baby. Keep those votes coming. Tomorrow, it'll be a different thing. Then the next day, and then on Friday, when Brandon's in, we'll announce what the meal was before 4th of July weekends, if anybody wants to replicate it. So, all right, studs and duds list time. Studs and duds list time. I got a couple of studs and duds I'm going to put out there. First, I highlighted them in the first hour, but I'm going to give them another shout out. So, a couple of our regular listeners, Plain T and Bloomer Tony, their kiddos were over in Green Bay participating in the NFL-sponsored flag football tournament. The NWC Eau Claire Packers brought 4 teams down over there. So, again, I wanted to give a shout-out to those teams, the 10Us, the 12Us, all those kids, coaches that were able to participate. Bloomer Tony was kind enough to send over some photos that we'll put up on Facebook a little bit later on. But kids got to meet James Jones, it looks like. They were in the Don Hudson Center. They were, I don't know if that's saw a couple other photos, whether that was like the Ray Nitschke or the Clark Hinkle field out there that they were playing on too. But what a darn awesome experience. That's so awesome. That is so awesome to see that. So shout out to those kiddos, excuse me, kiddos. Shout out to those kiddos that's an experience I got to imagine that they're going to remember for a long time, and the parents are going to remember for a very, very long time. Really cool. So there you go. My other studs, I gotta give my kid a shout. He turned 5 yesterday, so little Hutsy's already 5 years old. 5 years old, going on 18 right now. So another stud right there. Got to give it to my kiddo for turning 5 years old yesterday. And I told this story in the first hour, but so we had decided the name on Hudson before Hudson was here. But, we went in and I'm sitting, in the hospital room and that, and I was just, scrolling through Twitter on that day that he was born, and it happened to be, so we knew Hudson was going to be named after Don Hudson. But do you want to talk about some signs? You want to talk about some well, that's just interesting right there. Scrolling through Twitter that day, found out the day Hudson was born was the 20th anniversary of Don Hudson's passing. And then Don Hudson wore 14, right? Hudson weighed 9 pounds, 5 ounces, 9 plus 5, 14. Hudson was born at 10:14. My wife was in labor for 14 hours, 14 minutes. You don't want to say there's any connections or signs or anything like that. Boom, right there, baby. Right there. So, all right, some duds. Let's go. I didn't really have a whole lot of duds from the past week. And to be honest with you, it was a good weekend. It was a good weekend. So I didn't really have a whole lot of duds. I might be missing something out there. And I didn't have any I didn't really have any personal duds or that. But no, I honestly, I don't think I had any duds. I should add another stud, the Colorado Avalanche winning the Cup for the first time since 2001. I will say this, studs, I'll add another stud onto this. Stanley Cup playoffs. I made it a point this year to watch more of it. Went to my first NHL game in person, had a blast. Started to watch more of it on the tube. Made a point to do it. I wasn't the biggest hockey fan in the world. I'm like, okay, I'm going to make a point. I'm going to dedicate. I went to that game in person, got a little hooked to it. I'm going to watch this a little bit more. And really paid attention to the Stanley Cup playoffs. I thought they were fantastic. I thought they were awesome. I'm into it. So I want to give studs to not only the Avalanche, but heck, I thought this was a fun playoffs. I thought these were fun playoffs for the Stanley Cup. So that's the other stud that I'll go on there too. But yeah, I don't. And then Ole Miss we could put on there for the Men's College World Series. They sweep Oklahoma to win the first Men's College World Series title. Might as well give a little studs to the Ole Miss baseball team there too. But I mean, after the Mariners and could do that. But honestly, I had a great weekend, and I didn't see anything else on there that would warrant a dud from me. Not really. Maybe I'm just being ultra positive. But hey, you got about 45 minutes left. If any of you want to send us over your studs and duds list, I might put Surveyor on my duds list for calling potato salad overrated. You did put it in your top 3. No, you know what? I'll tell you what. You're on my duds list, Surveyor, for saying ranch is overrated. That I will put you on for my duds list, Surveyor. Okay, ranch is not overrated. That is a top 5, top 3 condiment. Okay, not overrated. I'm going to disagree with you on that one. Respectfully, of course. I will respectfully disagree with you on that. So, yes, I do have a dud. I'm going with you, Surveyor, on that one. And you might pop up on Grind My Gears Tuesday tomorrow, too. Just saying. Okay, so Brewers fans, if there were 3, if you could come up with your top 3 players that you would be okay with, 3 players on this current Brewers team that, get regular at bats, let's say, or regular innings pitched, regular playing time. Doesn't necessarily have to be a starter, but they could be a primary backup or bench player. But if you could come up with your top 3, that you'd be okay with the Brewers moving on from, who would they be? And, try to play the GM of both teams here. If we're looking at these articles that are going to be popping up more often as we get closer to the trade deadline on August 2nd, trade candidates, trade proposals. If the Brewers are looking at a team that, or looking at candidates from a team that, they're not going to make the postseason, they're probably going to be in a little bit of a rebuilding mode. So that, maybe the Reds don't want a Colton Wong. You know what I mean? They don't want a veteran that's got a few years under the belt. They want a player that they'll have control over for a couple of years, a little bit of a younger player that could be a part of the building process. So maybe like a Luis Urias, or maybe like a Keston Hero, or an Adrian Hauser, or an Aaron Ashby. If there was 3 of them on there, so you got to kind of play the role of GM for both sides here, right? You could propose that trade from the Brewer side, but then put yourself on the other shoe and be like, okay, yeah, I'd do that deal. I mean, this isn't 90s Madden where you can do every trade and under the sun and it would be accepted. So, maybe, if you move Colton Wong, you can put Luis Urias back up, but then, you probably have to trade Colton Wong to maybe another contender team that's, maybe in contention for a playoff spot. Maybe you get like cash in return or a minor league prospect, but then if you trade him, I have to imagine you put Luis Urias at second, and then maybe you bring in a third baseman. There are a couple of different ways you can play around with that. Maybe it's center field as a primary option. But if you had to give up one of your younger players, who would that be? Give me a top 3 list. And then the NBA free agency is starting Thursday. And it sure seems like maybe the Bucks are just kind of waiting to see what Bobby Portis is going to do. We know Pat Connaughton, he opted in. He's sticking around, at least for now. There's talk that Bobby Portis is going to test free agency. At least that's what other teams are expecting him to do at this point. Because I got to imagine it would change kind of the order maybe in terms of what the game plan is going to be for the Bucks for their offseason. I mean, if Bobby Portis opts out, I have to imagine that probably moves up to number 1 is trying to get Portis back or trying to solidify that position. Or even if he does stay, it probably is like, okay, what do we do with Brook Lopez? That decision, I think, affects a couple of different ways in which the Bucks will probably approach their offseason here. They've got to figure out the center position, whether it's going to be Brook Lopez or whether maybe do you hand the reins to a Bobby Portis, that sort of thing. And then, the 2 guard, the shooting guard. Do you try to upgrade that? Do you maybe look at bringing back Dante DiVincenzo and putting Grayson Allen on the bench? Or are you comfortable with Grayson Allen being a starter and then bringing in a bench player? I mean, who are some of the other 2 guards out there within reason? It's not going to be Zach LaVine. We know that. It's going to be too much. Bradley Beal sounds like he's signing a max deal with Washington, which I think is great news for Johnny Davis. Do they take a flyer on like a Victor Oladipo, a veteran? Yes, he's had some injury history, but maybe you kind of risk it and see what he's got left in the tank. Does it go with an overlooked type of guy like a Gary Harris from Orlando? Because I think, now this is just me being an armchair quarterback on this Monday morning, I feel like they still have to look at that shooting guard spot and just getting a little bit more of a reliable option there. I mean, ideally, yes, it would be one of the premier 2 guards in there. And then, you pair them up with Giannis and Chris Middleton. But I feel like in that postseason against the Celtics, it kind of like, okay, with no Chris Middleton, it showed some of the other weaknesses on this Bucks team. They need another shooter. They need another guy that maybe can help create their own shot. You take Middleton out, even more focus is on Giannis. You're asking Drew Holiday maybe to do some other stuff that's not really at the best of his game. Grayson Allen, he had a couple of good moments. But I think they need to upgrade that shooting guard spot. You bring in Dante, then I think, because I always liked Dante DiVincenzo. I did. I thought he fit very well with his role in this team. I thought he fit very well. But you bring him in, then you kind of have a combo of him and like Grayson Allen. I'd be okay with that. Or maybe you look at a different guard like a Victor Oladipo. Okay, you bring him in. Yes, he's had the injury history, but you don't have to have him playing 30, 35 minutes a game. Or do you try to spend a little bit more and try to get like a Gary Harris from Orlando, who's a little bit underrated, and maybe his price will be just a little bit down this year because you've got other big names on the market, right? You've got Zach LaVine. You've got who knows what's going on with the Kyrie Irving thing and James Harden and those guys. But if it were me, I really want the Bucks to kind of take a look at that shooting guard position and get some shooters on this team. Because I don't know what to expect from Marjan. I don't know if the Bucks know what to expect. You hope, the ideal situation is that the rookie is going to be a contributor right away. But how many times have we seen that happen? I don't know what the rotation is going to look like. I don't know how many minutes are going to be available for him. From all the draft reports, is that the one thing he does need to work on is his jump shot. He's great in transition. He's a great defender. But he needs to work on creating his own a little bit more and working on his jump shot. Okay. You're probably not going to rely on him so much on the offensive side then, right? So I think the two priorities for the Bucks this offseason, when free agency kicks off here in a couple of days, figure out the Portis Lopez / center position. Because if you move on from Brook Lopez and then you keep Portis as your starting center, you're probably going to need a backup. Or, maybe you look to your draft picks from last year. And then figure out that 2-guard spot. Figure out the shooting guard spot. No offense to Wesley Matthews in that, but you want some more consistent scoring from there, in my opinion at least. In my armchair quarterback opinion. All right, we got to take a quick break here. Coming up, we'll talk some more Brewers baseball. Brewers taking the series against the Blue Jays. Off day today before they've got quick 2 games on the road against the Tampa Bay Rays. But Brewers have a nice little opportunity here to rack up some wins now that they're 1 game up in the division over the Cardinals. But you look at after this, they got the 2 games against Tampa Bay on the road, but then it's a series against Pittsburgh, a series against the Cubbies, and then another series against Pittsburgh. So, they've got an opportunity here to rack up some wins and maybe create some more distance within their division, especially as the, right after that will be pretty close to the All-Star break. But who are the 3 younger players that the Brewers have that they get some playing time, regular playing time, that you'd be okay with them moving on if they get like an impact player? Let's hear your picks. All right, let's take that quick break. And then coming up in just a few minutes, we'll chat some more baseball, chat some more Brewers baseball. I want your thoughts, all right? Send those babies on over, 715-830-1912 with a quick text on the Shoe Doctors bullpen line. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. All right, we're approaching the bottom of the hour here. So far, it's getting a little bit closer on the votes. Getting a little bit closer on the votes here with the all-time ultimate backyard barbecue there with the deli dishes, with the deli salads. But still, it's potato salad, coleslaw, top two. I'm surprised macaroni salad not getting more votes. Surprised that's not getting any more votes. But all right, let's stuff that ballot box. You want to get it up there, okay? Get it up there. Now this is cool. Studs, my son came home from Ohio and brought me a Joe Burrow autographed helmet for Father's Day for my man cave. He has a connection to the Burrow family. And yes, I still owe you some pics of my man cave, but I still have to clean it up from that Packer playoff loss first. That was a dud. Yes, you do have to send those. That's from Mark. That's one thing I would love to do, but I just got to get some commitment from all of you. Remember the show back in the day, MTV Cribs? You had the celebrities that were, showing off their like multi-million dollar homes. I want to do that, but with just, us or our man caves. Not the video thing. It doesn't have to be where I'm like walking through and, touring. You don't got to. Just send me some pics so we can highlight a man cave one every so often. I think that'd be cool. Show off your man cave, because I think every man cave is unique and it's awesome in its own way. Whether it's a football man cave or a mixture or like when we had Mark talking bourbon, calls it the library and it's full of bourbon all over. I love listening to stuff like that. I love seeing pictures and videos of that. I would love to see more of it. So any of you listening right now, even if you think, it's not that great a man cave, I don't care. Let's see it. Because every man cave, in my opinion, is awesome. And it's cool. One day I would love to do like a man cave makeover thing. Like I would love to do like a man cave like makeover contest or something like that. If somebody's like struggling, like, I'd love to do this. Maybe the basement sucks or something like that, or they just need some help. Like, hey, I need some tips. I'd love to do like a man cave makeover. Okay. Kind of like, what was the other one? Like, what do they call that? Never watched it, but I heard, what was it? Like Hit My Ride or something like that. But anybody listening right now, I wanna do that. Okay? I want to do that. I want to highlight some man caves out there, or she sheds, or whatever. Your fan rooms, your rec rooms, whatever you call it. Send those babies on over, okay? I want to highlight them once in a while. Give you guys some love. Hey, our Carpet City Outdoor. I need a creative name for this. Our Carpet City Outdoor Nugget, tidbit, sort of thing out there. But we're getting to the 4th of July weekend. I love me some bass fishing. Okay, and I wanted to share a little bit about some of my top lures for bass fishing. And everybody's got their own thing. Like, you Google everything out there. It's like, lures and all that. Everybody's got their own thing. There's multiple ones that work all the time, right? There's a bunch of different ones that work all the time. But I've got my 5 go-to. My top 5 favorite bass fishing lures. This is part of your Carpet City Flooring Center outdoor, maybe just call it outdoor tidbit. But I got 5, okay? My number 1. See, I was a big Bill Dance fan as a kid. I was a big Bill Dance fishing fan. The guy that wears the Tennessee hat, always doing the bass fishing, does a little saltwater fishing, crappie fishing and that. But I remember in the good old days when TNN, it's now Spike TV. Is it still Spike TV? It was TNN. Saturday mornings, I was watching hunting shows like Real Tree and little Bill Dance fishing on there. But so whatever, like Bill Dance, whatever he used, whatever lures he used, like an athlete, right? So and so uses that, I want that, or I'll wear his jersey. I was like that with Bill Dance. So whatever lures he used, I used. I still do to this day. They don't. And back then, I still have the original ones where it's got like his signature on them. So 2 of them: spitting image, swimming image. Spitting image, the top water action. Do a little walk the dog retrieve on there. swimming image, a little shallow runner on there. My top two there. I like a little wacky rig too, so simple. The amount of worms out there, cast it out, little hook. I put an O-ring on mine. I know some people just thread it on there. I put a little O-ring on there. I'll go with the classic spinner bait. I like the blue, yellow, and white pattern. Chartreuse is fine too, or the tiger one. That's fine too. A little jig and pig. I like the pumpkin colors on there. The pumpkin seed. Little jig and pig though. Those are my top 5. So, any of you other bass fishermen out there, let me know your top baits out there, top lures out there, okay, when it comes to bass fishing only. We'll get to the other fishing later. We'll get to the other ones later. I know we got a lot of musky fishermen over there too. I'll kind of reserve those picks to you all. I've only gone a couple times. I'd love to go more. But my best bud Jake has yet to tell me when we're going. All right. Okay, a couple more votes for potato salad right there. Let's get back to some Brewers talk. So the question I posed to you before the break. And we got a little over a month yet from the trade deadline, but once we get closer, we're going to start to get more articles, more talking points. It's about possible trade candidates and rumors. I mean, especially rumors. We're going to start to hear more about that, right? Or ideal trade options, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But in order to make a trade, that other team's going to want what you got too. I mean, it's not like the video games back in the day where you could just create super teams and override trades. That's not how it works. It's easy for us to say, well, heck, trade, if they would have kept Lorenzo Kane, trade Lorenzo Kane for Suns. What team's going to want that? You got to play GM for essentially both teams when you come up with these trade options. So, and then the other part too is like, Brewers are, if they're going to make a move, they're probably going to have to find a team that isn't a playoff contender or maybe in a little bit of a rebuilding mode. So they're going to want players that they can kind of control for a couple of years. Maybe some younger players that they can control for a couple of years. But when you look at this roster, this Brewers roster, who are those players that the team would be able to control for a couple of years? But you'd be okay giving up in a potential trade pack. I look at this as and this could be just straight up my fandom coming through here. But I think a lot of you have said the same thing when we brought this up. I want the Brewers to go for it. Now, I don't know if they currently right now, do I feel like they have a team that can win it all? No. Do I feel like they're maybe a couple players away? Yes. Doing the whole Brett Favre asking the question answer it. They've got, when they're healthy, their pitching staff, it's still dominant. They've got the best setup and the best closer in the game. They've got the reigning Cy Young Award winner in Corbin Burns, and he's pitching extremely well again this year. Brandon Woodruff's coming back healthy. All signs are saying that Freddie Peralta will be back. And they've got, depending on who you want to put in that 4th, 5th, Eric Lauer. I know he's been struggling the last couple outings, especially with the home run ball. He's off to a fantastic start to begin the season. You find that again. But a lot of it is, again, going to be focused on offense, hitting. So I want the Brewers to go for it, and I know that might delay or it might affect their future in a few years where it's like, okay, if you go for it, then it might be, might be a couple of down years. Might be a little rough. They don't have anybody in the farm. They don't have any young prospects to kind of really carry them. But I look at this with their pitching with Corbin and Brandon and that, especially Corbin. Corbin is going to get paid. If he continues this dude is going to get PAID filthy paid. The Brewers are getting, I mean, it's just like, it's almost stealing what they're getting from Corbin Burns. the way he has been playing and what he has been giving this team, Brewers have to take freaking advantage of this and go for it. So that's why maybe to me, and maybe this is why my faith is coming and I can never be a GM, even though I said I would love to be a GM. But it's like, this is to me, it's like, okay, I'd be willing to maybe give up a little bit more to try to go for it this year or the next couple of years. And I know that it will affect my team down the line because I don't have the young talent in there. But we kind of saw David Stearns do that too. He took a risk with trading Lewis Brinson for Christian Yelich, right? Because Lewis Brinson was the next guy that we could not wait to be an everyday player. Like, that was the guy that we were just waiting for and so pumped up about. Then he was traded for some dude named Christian Yelich. Brewers won that trade. They still won that trade to this day. I don't care what you say about Christian Yelich right now. Brewers have still won that trade. It was a risk. And yes, Christian Yelich, we saw a little bit what he could do. But the potential, the hype there was for Lewis Brinson. It was a risk. It was a risk that paid off. Doesn't mean it's going to happen all the time. But sometimes that's a risk. As a general manager, you have to take. You got to push some more chips in. And you just cross your fingers and you hope that it all works out. So, I look at it like, who are some of the players that maybe other teams would be eyeing on the Brewers as like, okay, we want this guy in return. I feel like Ashby is that probably that guy right now for the Brewers, that a lot of teams are, if the Brewers call them and they're like, hey, we're interested in so-and-so, I feel like Ashby's probably going to be number one, or at least towards the top of the wish list for a lot of those teams. And you can look at it and be like, well, his record, he's only 1-5 with a 4.25 ERA. Well, teams are going to look more than just records in that. They're going to look at his game, his potential. I mean, the guy's only 24 years old right now. 24 years old. We've seen some glimpses of some great Ashby play and what could be Aaron Ashby. Right? We've seen that. So the question is, would you be okay if it's like an Aaron Ashby, who could be a future starter, a future maybe number one starter for this team? Would you be okay if the Brewers traded a guy like Aaron Ashby for an impact player for this season and maybe next year? Offensive impact player. Knowing you might be taking a risk and losing out on a good pitcher in Aaron Ashby. Or maybe this is the best that Aaron Ashby will be. Maybe this is his peak. We don't know. That's the thing about sports that, is one of the things we love, but it's one of the more frustrating things, right? You don't know. Honestly, I think I might be okay with it. And I know that's taking a risk, but I keep going back to, you know what? I don't think they're going to have a starting pitching staff like they've got right now. And I don't know if they'll ever have a closing duo, set-up closing duo of a Williams and a Josh Hader ever again. Now, they may need to make a couple of moves to really, be a big-time threat against a team like if they were to face the Yankees in the World Series. But, how many times have we seen a team just get hot at the right moment, get into the postseason, and win that? Get in the dance, and then anything's possible. Get in that postseason, and anything's possible. So, it might strictly be my fanism coming out in this whole thing. And it just might be my whole desperation of I want a World Series championship. But if it costs Aaron Ashby for a guy that, let's just say, career-wise, 275, 280, 25, 30 home runs, consistent at the plate, a threat at the plate, and you get him for the rest of this year and let's say one more year, I think I'd be okay with that. Knowing it might deplete you a little bit in the future, but I just keep going back to what they're getting from Corbin Burns and how much they're paying him. You've got to take advantage of that at some point. I really think you've got to take advantage of that. Because how many times have we said it before that, when's the next time you think this Brewers team is going to have a pitching staff like this? I don't know. I really don't know. So we'll see if David Stearns is a little bit of a poker player and a little bit more of a gambler, if he's ready to, push maybe some more chips onto the table. Because the closer we get to the trade deadline too, the more anxious trading teams will be. Maybe more willing to add more players to a package, to a deal. Maybe they're more willing to do that. Once they get closer, deadlines spur actions, right? Shout out to Andrew Brandt for that. Deadline spur actions. Once we get closer, more teams might be like, okay, yeah, we'll add another player on there just to make sure we get that player that we want. Brewers might have to be willing to do that. And the closer that this division is with the Cardinals, I would expect the Cardinals to be active at the trade deadline or before the trade deadline. They'll pay attention to that. The NL West, if it's still close by the trade deadline, Padres might be looking at, okay, is there a move out there that will make us somehow pass the Dodgers? Braves, defending World Series champs, a couple games back. Heck, AL, American League, might be a dogfight for a wild card spot over there. That's the other factor in this. It might cost a little bit more to get a player. Buying, buyers, if it's supply and demand. I just feel like Aaron Ashby will probably be that number one guy. And I think that will do it, but just because I just want a World Series so bad, but I just want to one time in my life. Well, I'd love it a few more times, but just once I would love to experience what a World Series championship's like. Just once. And I think they got the pitching to do it. Just need a little bit more offense. All right, closing up shop here. Quick break. We'll be back.
You're listening to the Dan Kasper Show.
Your favorite golf outing is back. Wrapping things up here on this Monday morning. Big thanks to everybody who participated in the program with your texts, with your tweets, with your Facebook messages, comments on the video stream there. Don't forget, make sure you're subscribing to the video stream too, because the keyword thing that I hinted at last week, it's going to be a Friday thing, okay? So it's going to be a Friday thing. If you're watching the video stream, we're going to flash up a keyword every so often. And then if you get that keyword, you got to enter it into our website for your chance to win some stuff, okay? Yes, it's an incentive to watch the video. I get it. It is 100%. So, all right. So we talked plenty of Brewers. Again, off day today for the Brewers as they get set to face the Tampa Bay Rays for 2 games starting tomorrow. Brandon Woodruff's going to be on the mound back with the ball club. All right. Woody's back. Hunter Renfroe, though, on the IL. Hopefully it won't be too long, but we'll see. Then we got Pittsburgh. Series against Pittsburgh, 4 games. Then we're back home for 3 games against Chicago and then 3 games against Pittsburgh before on July 12th. We've got that 2-game series against Minnesota right in the middle of the week before 4 games against the Giants and then the All-Star break. Be here before you know it. Stanley Cup final. Colorado hoisting Lord Stanley's Cup last night. First Cup win since 2001. It's been 21 years. But took 6 games, and then Colorado stopping Tampa Bay's bid to win 3 in a row. We got NBA free agency is going to be starting on later this week. See if the Bucks make any moves. Still kind of waiting to see what's going to go on with Bobby Portis here. 1 month from today, the Packers will open training camp. That's the only mention we've had about the Packers today, I think. 1 month from today, the Packers will open up training camp, and we're going to be there too. Be doing a show from over there. More details to come on that, but yep, we'll be there. So we'll see if there's any other moves or anything like that beforehand, but countdown's on, baby. Countdown's on. I can't believe it. It's going to be here before you know it, and it's going to be flying on by, man. Holy moly. College World Series, Ole Miss. They get it. They swept Oklahoma to win their first men's College World Series title. So we get Little League World Series now coming up, right? That should be coming up here in the next few weeks. I would have to imagine. Seeing the kiddos on the telly. I love the College World Series. Or the Little League College World Series. That's so cool. The Express, they're going to be at home tonight against Wilmer. You want to check them out? I know it's our sister station, Wax. They're going to be over there tonight too. But they'll be at Carson Park for a couple games here. If you're kind of looking at Wilmer, and then they're going to be out at beginning of July here, a nice stretch of games at Carson Park too. Our night is going to be on July 28th. We'll be coming back from training camp for a little Thirsty Thursday action at the Express games. So put that on your calendar there too. But the Express still leading the Great Plains East. 1.5 up on the Duluth Huskies. The La Crosse Loggers are 2 back. The Express 16-10 so far this season. The Rafters, Wisconsin Rapids Rafters, are just on a tear. 23-4. 23-4 this year. I was over there in Rapids when they first started back the Rafters back up. When they were coming up with their name and the mascot and all that, playing over there at Witter Field. But man, and one of their losses was their first game of the season. And they went on that insane win streak. Well, they've had a few insane win streaks. They lost 2 in a row this past Friday and Saturday. But man, I think it's safe to say that they're going to win their first half division. But head on over to Carson Park. Check out some of those games over there. Should be good weather tonight, I think. Maybe we'll run into one of these nights over there. What else we got on the docket? So tomorrow is a Grind My Gears Tuesday. So think of your list for Grind My Gears and send those on over, okay? Whatever's grinding your gear. Doesn't Could be sports related. Could be anything. You just got to get off your chest. Send those babies on over. Okay, send those babies on over. We'll get to that. Got a little turn 2. Little double play action Tuesday coming at you tomorrow as well. And then we'll chat up. Speaking of the Express, it's an Express Tuesday, so we'll catch up with the team, with how their season has been going so far as they approach that first half. Hopefully, first half, first place finish. Other than that, it's been it's kind of quiet, other than baseball season. Now that Stanley Cup, NHL done, their off season is gonna be starting. NBA free agency starting in a few days. MLB is still rolling on here. Training camp's a month away. I know for a lot of people, it may be a little bit of a downtime here, a little bit of a lull. But I mean, come on, it's we got baseball going on. It's still going on there. Got some other stuff going on, so get outside and do some stuff. Play some golf. I gotta get out golfing more. I've only been out a couple times this year. Kind of frustrating. Got to get out more. Beer Man Josh doesn't invite me as often anymore to go hang out with him. But I wanted to do like the tour this summer and hit up some courses. Hit up some different courses. It's already going to be July, and I haven't been able to do that yet. Got to figure that out. Wanted to head down to the Dells. I wanted to go up to Hayward. There's a big fish up there. I have not golfed that one. Got to do that. Just got to get out more and hit the links, hit the courses a little bit. Back to, we got a couple more pictures on some man caves. Send those babies on over, all right? You can email them to me, Dan@sportstalk1051.com, or send them on Facebook. Just look at my page too. That might be the easiest one, facebook.com/Kasper Sports. Send me your pictures of like your man caves or your collections, and I would love to kind of like highlight some of these. I would love to give you guys some love. Kind of show them off, kind of talk about them. Plus, I want to steal some ideas from you too. Okay? In case anybody has something really cool about their man caves, I want to maybe steal an idea from one of you out there. So send those babies on over, okay? If you're comfortable with it, send those babies on over. I want to give you guys some love. I want to give you guys some attention on there. Show me your man caves. Send those pics on over. Give me a little bit of a storyline if there is one. Maybe there's not. Don't matter. Let's highlight these babies. Okay? I think I'm finally done messing around with mine for at least another couple weeks until I figure out something more and add something more to it. But I think I'm okay right now. I think I'm done right now. Who knows? All right. Shot clock's going to tick off here and cut me off. So again, big thanks. You can continue the voting for the ultimate tailgate thing on Facebook and Twitter. So comment on those. We'll get the other nomination up tomorrow morning once we fire things back up. Okay, but get the votes going on Facebook and Twitter. DP and the Danettes are up next. Have a fantastic Monday. We will be back at it again tomorrow morning, just past 6. Talk to you then.